Welcome to the MSP Corner podcast. Before we kick off our show, we would like to share what our main objective is at the MSP Corner. Our main goal is to help CEOs build profitable and self-sustainable IT service firms. We are not just providing tools for IT firms, we will be sitting in meetings with you to ensure your IT firm stays on track. The first area we are focused on, strategic sales. IT firms are stuck selling technology or IT support. We will provide you with the blueprint so you position your firm as an added value to your prospects. We will have framework on how to sell value so you influence the prospect into selecting your firm. The second area we see many IT firms struggle in is marketing. 90+% of businesses rely on antiquated marketing methods. The most popular choice, word of mouth. We have proven methods on how to attract the ideal prospect. Our framework will include how to become the online authority and be the business influencer for an industry. The third component to our package, scaling. IT firms walk away from opportunities because they lack the bandwidth or skill set to scale. We have lined up reputable businesses so our members can hire on-demand resources that will allow them to scale their business. The fourth area we will offer help in, selecting the right tools. In order to deliver value, you need the right tech stack. Our platform will offer information on products that are the ideal choice for MSPs. The fifth area we will offer help in is with documentation. Templates are a critical component when building an MSP. We will have contracts, proposals, SOWs, collateral, and much more in the template section. You will have every document you need to start up your managed IT service business. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go to our next podcast. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast. I am your host, Fernando Leon, and I'm joined by my co-host, Gregory Moravietz. Today's guest, Charlie Dino from Griffin Global. Charlie is an executive with 25 years of experience in operations, finance, and IT. His last corporate role was America's CIO for Recall Records Management. Charlie took a leap of entrepreneurship in May of 2018, starting AcquireTech with the owners of Griffin Global Technologies. Charlie was the 32nd employee, second business, and has loved seeing the quality growth of his team over the past 6 years. Griffin, a little bit on Griffin Global Technologies is they're primarily focused on providing value technology solutions with a global blended team. So let's go over real quickly on the table of contents of what we plan to discuss today. And we'll just dive a little deeper on Griffin Global, the value they offer MSPs, what makes them different from other offshore groups, market predictions, what's next for Griffin and G2. And so let's kick this show off. All right. Hey, Charlie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you making time for us. And well, tell us a little bit about the business, the technology solutions done differently without being so costly. So go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. Listen, thanks for having me, Fernando and Greg. I've talked with Fernando numerous times. I know in the past, Fernando, we've talked about one of our offerings, which we still do, which is M&A services. But you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's been a cool 6-year journey. We've recently, and I'll explain real quick. We've recently really coordinated an alignment. We had 7 different businesses running at one time. And those that, are out there have experienced as entrepreneurs, it's been new for me the last 6 years, but sometimes when you do that, it's fun, but you're also rowing a boat in different directions. You're not all going one direction. So This year, what we've done, we've been preparing for 2 years. We've put all of our services under one umbrella. Um, it's our holding company, but don't that'll get confusing. Really, it's twofold. You've got Griffin Global Technologies, which is us doing a number of technology solutions we can get into in a second, but it's a global blended team. So you get the advantage of someone here in the States that knows you're in and out of what we're doing here from a technology solution standpoint and are responsible for delivery, but you also get the cost benefits of having a team as well that's connected to them in Kenya. So um, that's one, and then the other one's G2 staffing. So we do, and I've mentioned in the past with you. I think we've talked about for MSPs. Um, we do a help desk resource offering at a G2 staffing. So that's one way that we've partnered with other MSPs. That started because one of our businesses was an MSP. We sold that 2 falls ago to a firm called Centerpoint here in Atlanta. It was not aligning with everything else we do. Most of what we do is consulting services. So that's a little bit high level. But I'd say to you, and we can talk a little bit about it and you can ask questions. The specific solutions that we are doing a lot of right now is Power BI, Salesforce level one support. So we can talk about that if you have questions. And then a lot of data and integration work. So we've always done that. But we've really had a lot of success with large entities and medium to small entities around SQL, Databricks, Snowflake, and utilizing our integration skills from our background and experience. So that's a little bit high level. I hope that answers your question overall. What we do. Oh, I forgot to mention to you what we do with a lot of MSPs, and I think we've talked about this with you in the past. We do referral agreements too, like we both ways. Well, if we've got an MSP that we think we can bring in because they've got skills with our clients and our projects, we'll do so, and vice versa. If the other way around, if it helps the MSPs, perspective to be able to bring somebody in, whether it's white label or whether it's directly around Power BI or some of our other solutions that we offer, .NET, JavaScript development, et cetera. We do that as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, it sounds like the value you have to offer is a staffing solution for MSPs that need support for on the help desk. So it would be a full-time employee that would be assigned to an MSP that is staffed offshore, and they would only be taking on overflow and resolving issues as calls come in. Is that how it works, or what am I missing there?
No, that's how it works. Just to be a little more specific, if somebody were to reach out to me, typically you'd want at least two or more because you want to be able to have contingency. Okay, so if, that it's your normal. You've got owners on the line listening. It's your normal, illness hits or vacation, etc. We typically do, 5, 6 person resource outsources for help desk. We can do any time zone. That's the nice part about what we've got set up over there. We can do 24/5, 24/7, etc. We're doing that right now, just so it relates. We're doing it for customer service. We're doing it for Salesforce associate level support, for quality assurance. So it really kind of it melts right in with and corresponds to the help desk services. We're also doing, forgot to mention, an accounting outsource service for clients as well. We've got a group here that are CPA certified in the US, and then we outsource some accounting services over there as well. I mention all that not just throw out what we do over there, but the shift side of it as far as covering different shifts, whether that be here in the US in the 4 time zones, or as you go across, if some of your clients have European clients or South America, et cetera, we can easily meet those needs.
It says you're on 3 continents.
Yes.
Which one would those be?
So it's here in North America. It is the UK. We've got a couple of employees there, and then Kenya.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Now, what? How would you? Let's say I came to you and said, "Hey, Charlie, I need 5 guys, full time,
Yep.
providing support in French or German, right? Is that something you would be able to provide support for, or is that not in your wheelhouse of other, providing support in other languages?
Okay. And for the audience, this was not a layup. Fernando and I had not talked about this. They speak Swahili, English, and French. They're in Kenya. So French definitely.
Okay.
German, we've been asked. We have a few that speak German, but not as prevalently as French because of the cultural background and history there in Kenya. They speak English, French, and I don't think anybody will have the need for Swahili, but you never know, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
but
yeah.
French definitely they could pick up. We've got some clients in France that are utilizing their services.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. That's good to know. Good to know. And what makes you different, as you say in your approach? I mean, there's
Yeah,
other competitors out there that are doing the same thing in other
yep,
countries, but what makes you different other than the tech support? Because I was going over your piece of collateral,
yeah,
and it looks like you guys do software development,
correct.
and you guys can provide expertise in other areas. Can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a lot of these, before we go through them, were born of our clients asking us if we had the experience with it. Which, speaking to an audience like you and Greg and your members, yeah, sometimes as entrepreneurs, you say, "Yeah, can we do that?" Yeah, we can. So, over 12 years, that's how long Griffin's been around. You jump into things like it's always been a .NET JavaScript development shop. We utilize all the software development lifecycle processes, etc. When I started Acquire Tech, our second business, the M&A services business, we were doing a lot of integrations. So was Griffin. So that's where you get the data solutions and integrations. So SQL, Snowflake, Databricks. Um, and then we got into 4 years ago the big wave that a lot of folks did around intelligent automation. So UiPath, we have certified resources here and in Kenya. We also have Microsoft Power Automate, which goes along with our BI platform that we've chosen to gravitate towards, which is Power BI from Microsoft. So that's some of what we do from a global blended. The only other global blended that we do is quality assurance, just because we've got some folks here in the States that are
Mhm.
QA knowledgeable with regression testing, manually automated regression testing, etc. But you asked me a question I think that's important. Why are we different? A couple reasons. One, you've got guys like me that are part of the management team and partnership that are former CIOs. So I think that's a little different in that when we go out and speak to someone about a solution, we're not only speaking from experience, but we shoot straight. And I know everybody says that, but we do because we've been through the uglies, the black eyes when we were CIOs, where you bring someone in and then you go, well, geez, this is not working, and I'm not looking good in front of my executive team. So that's one. Two, this Kenyan deal, man, I'll just tell both of you and the audience, I was a little skeptical of us going offshore initially. And the reason was when I was a CIO at Recall for the Americas, I went to Griffin because I got frustrated with not executing with offshore resources in India and Brazil. And so I reminded the guys of that when we started this journey with Kenya. And so things were doing different over there. One, there are employees. We don't like if you come to us, even with the help desk resources, we're not going to farm you out to another entity and white label it, etc. There are employees, which makes a difference in an outsource or offshore that you're managing. Two, we manage it. We have two guys from Atlanta originally that have been living there in Kenya with our
Mm.
team running things now for 5 years. So
Wow.
that's a big
Wow.
deal. That's a huge deal. I mean, you don't find that normally. You find where you go over, you leave, and that's the end of that. The third thing is, and you just have to experience to know it. We're going to start putting some stuff up on LinkedIn so you can hear them. Their English is very clear, uh, articulate, and very understood. I know that's tough in this day and age to say, but when you get outsources where you can't understand what the person's saying over the phone or via a virtual call, that's a big deal as well. And then we send over basically a group from the States every about 2 to 3 months. Why do we do that? To make sure that we're continuing education, training, the like, so that you really don't feel like you've taken a journey as a client or a partner where you're on the journey from the US to Kenya. It's just one team, whether we're managing the staffing side of it or whether it's part of a global blended solution that we're offering you.
Hey there. What I find when I outsource to to anybody outside the US is that I end up managing those people, like micromanaging them.
Mhm.
And if I don't have a person dedicated to controlling them, I find they fail a lot more. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. So I think that's a great question. It's one of the other things that we do, if I wasn't clear earlier, is we typically have someone that's assigned from here, that's involved in the management of what's going on over there, or the two guys that are there as well. They're responsible for some clients and some offerings as well. And so I always tell people, when you outsource, they'll call them, it's relationship manager, right? These folks aren't relationship managers. They're actually part of the solution. So they've done this with other clients, whether that be the software development solutions, the data solutions, integration solutions, automation, BI, QA, the Salesforce stuff we talked about earlier, quality assurance. So, yeah, I mean, we always assign someone, whether that's someone, if you do the global blended offering, it's a little more expensive, but to what Greg just asked me, it's important because you've got somebody part of the solution team, right? The other one where we do staffing straight out from G2, we always assign our management team here and our management team there to make sure that they're managing as we move forward. And then one other thing to think about for you guys and your audience, especially on the help desk services, our first 30 days, and I do this for MSP Corner members here. Our first 30 days, we typically will do without charge if you commit to us for a 5 or 6 month period. The reason we do that is we want to go ahead and embrace arms with you as the new client or partner and make sure that you're involved as well. Like you're going to give us your materials to get them up to speed. If it's something where it's a discipline we already know, we don't necessarily need that, but we'd like to know. I think this is really important. So I'll pause a second. Is that if it's something where it's Power BI or it's Salesforce support, obviously we know those because we have certifications, but we want to understand your business model, right? So if it's MSP, we certainly understand that. But for our clients that are across different verticals, we want to understand their business as well because I think that's important. I think that's why there's such a divide sometimes between IT solutions and business objectives, is that you need to understand their business at the same time. So that's what we do, Greg, to try to bridge that gap so that you don't have the experience you just mentioned, which I've had in the past. I mentioned earlier that's a little bit frustrating.
Thanks for sharing with that, Charlie. So let's talk a little bit about the market predictions. What are you seeing in the market right now from a technology solution standpoint and overall from your perspective?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So, and I know I've been on in the past with you from an M&A perspective. I went to my annual M&A huge event here in Atlanta back in February. Everything I'm hearing with the market, the economy, et cetera. Um, it's like Q3 of this year, maybe
Mm.
Q4, things get back to normal. I think a lot of that has to do with election year, but we won't get into all that. I think it's just cyclical. But for us, what's happened, we've seen a lot of layoffs at our larger clients. We've also seen in moments where this is why we love for your audience, you and Greg and your audience to partner, is we've been able to stay very relevant and continue to grow because we have this global blended offering and this difference maker Kenyan, staffing deal is we've been able to say to people, listen, you still get the knowledge of the people that you've loved on your account. Plus, I can still be cost effective for you. In an era, I don't know if you guys are finding this, but for our clients, what we're seeing is not only are they laying people off from a executive perspective, is they're then asking the person's left behind, hey, you still have to deliver the same amount. And so our offering's been able to really be timely for us, that we've been able to continue to offer solutions for our clients and continue to thrive. So I'll just give you one example. One of our clients, a very large event company, we do their event technology. We had 5 people out there a year and a half ago. Very, very lucrative for us. They came to us after Q2 last year and said, "Hey, we're going to have to lop off 4 of the 5 people." Devastating for those like you guys, ourselves, those in your audience that are out there, that are doing solutions and resource staffing, et cetera, on the solutions. And we were able to go to them and say, "Hey, listen, why don't you keep that person? We'll add 3 or 4 people in Kenya." It's worked out wonderfully to the point where they're asking for more now. So that's what's going on. I'll tell you one other prediction, having been around this for a little while. The last time this happened, I was on the other side. So I can tell you from being on the CIO side, when this last time I remember this happened was around 07, 08, somewhere in there, where we were asked, hey, reduce your head count, made I was in a publicly traded company, obviously made us look more lucrative to the market. And then all of a sudden, when things started to look like they were coming back to normal, it was, hey, go out and hire consulting resources or outsourced resources because we're nervous about hiring people direct back until we know everything's back and we don't have to deal with the overhead. So I see that coming as well. For you guys in your industry, for us, I think, once things start to get back to normal in Q3, Q4, Q1 of 25, I think there's going to be a big boom in the services and solutions side of the IT industry.
Well, it just makes a lot of sense for a lot of firms who are trying to scale, right?
That's right.
It can be a huge challenge to scale.
Yep.
So I get it.
Yep.
It's not it's a lot easier to scale when you have a partner like yourself.
Yep.
So
Yep. We
all
we
right.
that's been very, very advantageous at this point. So
Yep. So what's next for Griffin? And am I pronouncing it correct? G2 or is
yeah.
it
Yeah,
all right?
G2. The G2, it means the giant in
The
Swahili.
giant. Oh,
Yes, in
really?
Swahili.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it
All
does.
right.
So, yeah, what's next for us? We're continuing to do everything I mentioned earlier. We are starting to get asked about AI. I think because we stay in touch and are close. Um, you know, my background we mentioned earlier, I started getting asked a lot as a trusted advisor, like, "What's your take on AI? Is it taking over the world?" It's not. I went back for a 10-week course August last year to MIT. It was called AI Advise, Build, and Design. So we're starting to get questions about that from our clients. What does that look like as you move forward? And just a couple high levels that we're seeing in that space is
Mhm.
one, the larger clients that we have are trying to figure out their strategy. We've partnered with somebody called Accelerated Innovation here in Atlanta and New York City that seem to be putting together a good construct around that. So if you hear somebody that needs that, send them my way. The other thing, though, for all out there is, I think there's you saw the media started jumping in on AI. It's quieted down a little bit, but machine learning, definitely something that is super advantageous and you can see P&L results for. And that's the key, right? There needs to be some kind of P&L return on investment for AI. The other thing is it's not taking over the world. There's everything. I'll tell you two high level things I learned. There's one, you need to keep humans in the loop. If you don't, it starts to bring errors. And I give you a perfect example of why. There's specialized versus general intelligence in AI. And I give the example of, do you remember IBM Watson taking on Jeopardy champions and beating it like probably 8, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
remember
well,
that.
what happened was the reason that IBM doesn't talk about it a lot is if you take that same IBM Watson and put it up against middle school and high school chess and checkers champions, it loses 8 out of 10 times. The reason is it doesn't have general intelligence. It's specialized to the answers from the questions that it built for the Jeopardy case I mentioned earlier. So
Mm.
we're starting to look at that. But let me. The reason you asked what's next, data is key, right? I'd say that to you guys in your industry, ours, IT overall. You can't do uh, progressive solutions like AI unless your data is set up for that. So we're very adamant about that when we talk to people about making sure that's understood that we in essence look at people's data first and make sure. And when we've done some AI engagements, we do a proof of concept around their data before we look to see how we can help them in that space. So, but we do that with all of our solutions. So just to understand that it's key, and hopefully that resonates with those in your audience that data is very important in whatever you're doing from a solutions perspective. So
All right. All right. Well, Charlie, that's it. I just want to
yep,
say thank you. I want to share your URL for the
yeah,
audience. You're at www.GriffinGlobalTech.com.
correct.
And I appreciate you making time
And
for us.
just so you know,
Any
Fernando, on that URL, I forgot to tell you is you can set up an appointment with me. I'm bold enough that I've got my Calendly out on our website. So if you want
awesome.
15 minutes with me, certainly, your audience can do so. And as I've told you in the past, with the relationship we have here with MSP Corner, if any of them call, first of all, advice is free. But if we do anything together, we'll honor discounts on that just because they're members with you guys at MSP Corner. So.
Awesome. Awesome.
Great.
Well, I appreciate your time.
All right,
And
guys.
let me just stop recording here, and then let me just give. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who joined us. And just stay on the call for just a second here, Charlie. I just wanted to share a couple more notes, but I just want to thank everybody for listening. And don't forget to sign up to be a member on the mspcorner.com site. Please share our link with a CEO who might find our information beneficial to their business. All right, guys, have a good one. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to sign up to be a member on www.mspcorner.com. Please share our link with a CEO who will find our information beneficial to their business. Have an awesome day.